but it's fine.
Yes,
Welcome back, Spiritual Sirens, SS family. Today we have
Bishop Block.
Yes, sir.
Free
Yes,
Bishop.
sir. Okay.
Yes, sir. With them international with it.
Come on now.
We out here.
And we got work for you today. So stay tuned. Today we're gonna be y'all are gonna be tagging along with me as I finish this hair appointment because we were supposed to start this. We got the idea a little late, but it's okay. We're just gonna roll with it.
Yep. Let's get it.
Yeah.
You hear me?
Just saying. So tell us about yourself.
I'm just a young man that loves the Lord.
Amen.
You know, I like to walk by faith and not by sight. You know, I like to put all my trust in Him. And you know, God first, everything else after that. You know, so that's how I live my life. I live my life stress-free, at peace. You know, at peace with the Lord.
And what helps you the most with that in your walk in faith?
What helps me the most is just staying connected. You know, keeping my eyes on the prize. You know. And just knowing that He's real, but you got to stay in your word. So you got to stay in your word to keep yourself refreshed. Because if you don't keep yourself refreshed, it's easy to fall along the wayside. You know?
And it's easy to fall prey to things that are around you, trying to keep you in the same positions when you're not keeping yourself refreshed.
Refreshed.
I think that's the word. Word of the week.
Refreshed. You got to stay refreshed. So even if you wake up in the morning, play a gospel song, that's staying refreshed. You know, you starting your day, you refresh, you know.
Not only that, but just like being grateful, like in the smallest situations, finding gratitude in everything that you grow through and everything that you experience allows you to not only find the value in it, but to learn what you're supposed to and keep it pushing even better.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
So basically find blessings in the small things, you feel me? Be grateful for the small things, you feel me? You gotta look at the picture and grab the bigger picture and find the blessing in it and not find the problem in it. And a lot of times in life we like to find the problem in things, but we don't look at the bigger picture and think about what we're blessed with, you feel me? And what we can be happy about. It's easier to find something to be upset about than to find something to be happy about.
Yeah. And not only that, but like finding things that make you happy. Doing things that make you genuinely happy so you know how to get back to that space. So it's a lot easier to be grateful because you're not getting stuck up in all the little minuscule situations that you're put through on a daily basis to test your faith, but also test your growth and how well you can grow through the situations that you deal with.
Exactly. And then we also got to find things that gives us happiness, like longevity, you feel me? Not short-term happiness. So a lot of times we like to find short-term happiness, like, you know, going to the bar getting slaughtered. You know, we having fun that night, but we're waking up tomorrow sick, you feel me?
Yeah.
We didn't have short-term happiness, you know? So you got to do activities that's going to better you. It make you feel good in the end, but it's also going to make you feel good in the long term.
For sure. And it's okay to indulge every now and again, but you also have to be mindful that you're not indulging, one, in things that are hurting you, and two, overindulging to where it's not as beneficial for you as it maybe once would have been.
Yeah, like we was talking earlier, basically you got to know your limits. And once you know your limits and become one with yourself, then you know what you can and cannot do.
Exactly. And that's your limits, not the limits of the people that you have around you telling you what your limits are. Because a lot of times those are their limits that they can handle, but everything that everyone else can handle is not always what you can handle.
Exactly. I'm going to give you an example. I found out this not long ago. I felt like when I drank one beer and sipped on one beer, I felt better buzz than you know, 6 shots drunk, you feel me? So the buzz feeling was better than the drunk feeling. So I came to understand, like, getting drunk, that's, you know, that's too far-fetched. It feel better just to sip this beer and just feel a slight buzz and be cool and comfortable.
Because is it really that fun not having control over yourself?
It's not.
Like, not being able to determine how your body moves or speaks, like, not being able to have any type of control. Is it really that fun to be, at least to the extent to be doing it every night or so many times in the week?
I think it's a mental thing. So you think it's more fun than what it's really going to be. So you think like, oh, I'm going to take all these shots and have fun, have a blast. But That's really just killing us in the end. But yeah, just know your limits.
Really. But another thing we wanted to talk about today, because this is my first guy on the podcast, so I wanted you guys to have both perspectives. We're going to talk a little bit about feminine and masculine roles in divinity and in relationships, like the roles that God gives us in our everyday lives, and also the roles that we play in our relationships. And that's not necessarily mean because you can be a woman and have a lot of masculine energy, you can be a man and have a lot of feminine energy, and that's okay. But knowing what's best for you and the roles that you play in your life and other people's lives helps you go through life a little bit easier, or at least knowing, yourself. So as for you, as a man, can you give us your perspective and your growth and becoming going from boy to man as far as mentality and stuff like that?
I feel like even before you get into the relationship, I feel like when you're dealing with relationships, that the first key is to be grounded. You feel me? So you have to build your foundation. So dealing with women in my past, I dealt with women that wanted to build together from the ground up. And you feel me? My belief was, you build your foundation, I build my foundation, and then once we both have our foundation, then we can build from there. But if we're both trying to build from ground up, your problems is my problem is your problems, we're bringing a lot more stress on each other instead of taking that time to find yourself out. You feel me? Individually, and do what you gotta do.
Yeah, and that's a thing with codependency also. Because a lot of times in relationships, we don't really realize how codependent we can become. And it's we're no longer focusing on growing each other, but we're depending on each other for growth.
Yeah,
that's the goal. That's not the goal. But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so basically you gotta find out yourself. So basically, if you're mature, if you have an understanding, so if you could be with someone and y'all both come to an understanding, we got things we need to do, we got goals we need to reach. So if you could be with each other and then have that understanding and not have to be stuck and glued around each other all the time, then that's a blessing.
Don't y'all personal space?
Yeah.
Respect.
But I know some that just want to, they want to be around each other every day.
That's exhausting.
Yeah, laying up and watching Netflix. I feel like that's one of the biggest life wastes. You feel me? You just throwing away time. Laying up, it's okay every now and then, but day in and day out, all that laying up, you could be chasing your goals, getting further.
Together,
we can come back.
Hard.
Yep, and we can come back and lay up all we want.
Literally.
Once from where we at, but until then, we got to get it done.
What's the point of laying up with no money or nothing to do? Not even money, because money is not the end goal, but growth is. So it's if you're just sitting together in the same spaces that you're comfortable in, are y'all growing together like you're supposed to?
You know.
Exactly. So it can be something as simple as even if you are laying up, have those important conversations. I feel a lot of times we just get comfortable with each other and who we are now, that we don't really take the time to learn who we were and how we got to the point that we are at now. So it's that's so important too. Learning what a person's experiences are can also help you in the long run, because you might be able to learn something from their experiences in the now or in the future.
Exactly. I think a lot of people just like to get back with, they just like to get by. So when you get by with love, they don't want to see it's easier. So when you love someone, it's easier to see them every day, hug them every day, kiss them every day. But the hard part is to break apart and have an understanding, but know that we have to grow, and the only way to grow is to go out and do these things that we need to do for our lives to better our lives. And you can't do that being cooped around each other all the time. So, like we said, people just like to take the easy route instead of the hard route, but sometimes you gotta take the hard route so things can be easy.
Tell him.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bishop,
yes, sir. I'm trying to tell you.
Nah, for real. But even excluding relationships, just our divine roles in general. Can you tell us a little bit about your growth as moving from boy to man in your everyday life, as far as shifting your mentality to, because a lot of times I feel especially with men in the society now, it's a lot of people think that they're grown because of their age, but their maturity is lacking because they don't have those concepts to actually help improve themselves and their mentality. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Basically, I say coming from a boy to a man, basically you can't let everything get under your skin. Some things you just gotta blow over your head because you gotta look at the bigger picture. So if you letting things get under your skin as a man, it can stop you from doing the bigger picture that you're really chasing. So I just said, basically coming from a boy to a man, I know that my life, it is my life, but it's not all about me. So as a man, the things I take joy in is making sure my family's good,
Facts.
making sure my peoples is all right, my parents, my brothers and sisters, So it's not only about my peace, it's also about their peace.
Exactly.
So I can say as a boy, it was probably all about me. Like, ain't nobody worried about nobody. Feel me? Do what I want to do. But now my actions is based off the people that I love. So as a man, the things that I do is not only for me, it's for the people that I love also.
Wow, yeah, for sure. And I think from a woman's perspective, I would definitely say like, I'm very young, but I have a very like high emotional intelligence because of the things I've been through and things I've learned growing through what I've been through. So it's like for that, it's like, I think a lot of times women were taught to take care of everybody else outside of ourselves. And for me, growing and maturing, it's allowed me to understand that I can't take care of anyone else before I take care of myself.
Exactly.
Because if I'm not taking care of myself, I'm not in the position to help anybody else.
Nope.
We're gonna stay in the same situation, or it's just gonna get worse.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, it's hard. It's really hard because it's like, you're taught you have to be a mother, you have to be a sister, you have to be this, that, and the third, you have to be a daughter. Why can't you just be yourself first? It's hard to do all those other things when you haven't really found yourself, so you don't know how best to help people. Because even if it is your intention to nurture and help, sometimes when we don't have that emotional intelligence, we end up projecting instead of helping. So it's like we're projecting what we feel like we need to fix onto other people, thinking we're fixing them, and really, we're just projecting.
Yep. And you're just getting by and not doing what you need to do for you. Doing what's easy, but not what's good for the long run.
Doing what you were taught and not what you learned.
Yeah. And then getting back to the relationship thing, what I've witnessed is a lot of people in relationships, a lot of people are not even meant for each other, or people like to rush into things. And I have the biggest belief that you should be friends first, for a while before you even think about a relationship or sex, because the sex can ruin a good thing doing it too early. But also, when people jump in too early, they're not even knowing the full person. They just know what that person's showing then for now. You know what I mean? In the good times, but they don't know. What that person's like when they're going through something or when they're battling something. So when they get in early, then they start seeing these things. They start seeing that person acting different. But they're not acting different. They're just showing you a side that you didn't wait to see.
Yeah.
So you rushed the whole thing. So it's really your fault. You can't blame them like, oh, they started acting different. I can't deal with them. No, you rushed and you didn't give yourself a chance to see that side of that person. So it's on you also.
It's also like, it's so easy to wear a mask when things are going good, right? It's so easy to continue, like, it may be it's a good part of yourself that you're showing. And it's not like that's not you, but it's like, it's a lot easier when things are good. When things get rough, how are you able to maintain your composure? How do you treat people when things aren't that good for you? When God isn't blessing you in the same way, are you still blessing other people? If they don't have that quality, it's hard to be able to fight through the hard times. It's like, dang, it's like you were all sweet and cool one day, and now it's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But even, as you said with like sex, soul ties. You know what I'm saying? Soul ties is a real thing, y'all. I keep telling y'all, it's a real thing. It's like, and like when you jump into sex too early, you never know what type of ties that person has.
Yeah.
Now you're confused because you're waking up feeling like this whole other person, and it's like, because they are someone else, like, or that's like energy that they're still carrying from someone else.
Yeah.
You have to make sure you take the time not only for yourself, because even you taking time to learn that other person is for yourself, because that's someone that you're welcoming into your life.
Yeah.
How can you know like things are gonna go? Even if you don't know, we're not supposed to know. We're supposed to learn, but being aware so you know what you're allowing yourself to allowing you to enter your life, because that's gonna, in the end, affect how you go throughout your life in some way, shape, or form.
You're right. And another thing I'd observed, the reason why people jump in so fast is because they're unhappy with themselves. So they're not content with being alone. So they feel like they need love to feel love. So So the only way they love themselves is if they are loved. And then so basically that's just temporary happiness. Because if you're not happy alone, the relationship will never work. So you got to be happy with yourself and be content with yourself and be able to be to yourself and still be happy before you can have a healthy relationship with someone.
And not only that, but when you aren't content with yourself, a lot of times we're going to continue to attract people that resemble things that we are not satisfied with ourselves.
Yep.
So it's like, you're thinking like, oh, I'm attracting people that just want me. No, it's because you're attracting people that can't be alone too.
Yep.
And there's a reason for that. So it's like, you have to also take the time to love yourself fully so you can recognize when people truly love you. And not people just being around you because you guys have the same codependency habits.
Yep. And so you think it's going from being a good thing. It goes from being a good, fun thing to being toxicity. Because even so, say one person's down, they're going through a lot and they're not content with themselves, they don't love themselves. Basically, when the person's coming in, they could be a good person. But how vulnerable the other person is, they can change that person to be a person they never were. Just because you opened up that door to let them override, or you was going through things and they know about it, so it was just easier for them to be the person that they wasn't.
It's really easy to lose yourself in someone else's identity when you don't know your own identity. How can you know who you are if you don't take the time to learn who you are?
Exactly.
But I think we were mentioning a little bit earlier about quick shift to spiritual realm, and that as opposed to things that we deal in the physical realm. If you want to start on that.
Yeah, we can start on that.
So I think earlier we were talking about how a lot of times we get stuck being unhappy because we don't see the things that we've been asking God for. When in reality, it's not like those things aren't there, because your victory has been proclaimed, destined, all that before you were even born. So it's like, how can you think that the blessings that you feel you deserve aren't there for you? It's just not here yet, because you haven't put yourself in the position where you are prepared to receive those blessings. So you might get those blessings today and fumble it. So why would God give that to you just for you to lose it? You're not ready yet, and that is okay.
Exactly. And God just wants you to believe. You feel me? And what He has for you, it is for you. So even if you really want it and it's not there, if it's not for you, then it's not for you. But God gonna give you what He has to give for you. But He just wants you to believe, so that goes with, I love this saying, walk by faith and not by sight. I live by it to the fullest. So things could look like the worst in front of your vision, like you're seeing it, and you're like, there's no way that the table's going to turn, but you have to believe. God just wants you to believe through it that there's a way. And once you got that belief, that's when things, miracles start happening. They're unbelievable. Once you just know. So with faith, it's not just hopes. Faith is knowing that, that He's going to show up.
Because it's like, if you have faith, or if you have little faith now, when you get those blessings, it's a lot easier for you to not be put in that position, but be deterred or misguided by other people because you don't know, your faith isn't strong enough on who brings you your blessings. And let's be very clear, the devil blesses people too, very much so. But that
temporary blessing, though.
There you go. That's not something that's gonna come or stay forever in your life. A lot of times, those blessings have conditions. So you're over here making big scores, thinking, oh, I got this money, I'm up now. Later on, boom, something happens, you're in trouble with the law, you're in trouble with someone else, or someone else knows that you have that money, and the devil sends them to hurt you so that they can get it. Because it's not only blessings don't only come, or false blessings don't only come in the form of material things, it also comes in the form of people. And that's another thing to tie back into relationships. A lot of people are set in your life daily to deter your growth and who you're meant to be. So don't you think, sometimes, especially if you don't have that strong identity within yourself, you're not able to recognize who really is for you in your life. So these other people come with false intentions, and they completely disrupt your life, and you're thinking, oh God, why? It's not God.
Yeah.
Baby, that's not God.
Yeah.
God is not out here trying to hurt nobody. You feel what I'm saying? That is not his intention. His intention is to bring people in your life to help you grow. And even through the midst of that, God can still work through those situations and help you out of them once you learn what you're supposed to learn. But if you don't learn those lessons in that time, you're going to continue to attract those same people.
Yep, exactly. And also you're blessed according to you. You feel me? You feel me? You handle your blessing. You feel me? You can believe God and be blessed, or you can put in the work for God and be even more blessed until you cut running forward. So it's all on you. You know, you weigh your blessings. So you do what you need to do for the Lord. You know, walk the path of righteousness. Your blessing is going to be abundant. But still, just believing, you're going to be blessed, and that's what I believe.
And not only that, but like growing stronger in your faith opens you up to so many new perspectives and so many different ways of looking at things. So when you're going through those situations, they don't have any type of control over you. Because at the end of the day, we may not have control over what happens to us, but we sure got control over what we can do in those situations to either help us grow or set us back. And even when you do allow yourself to get set back sometimes, it's okay. As long as you have that faith, you're going to come right back to where you're meant to be. Nothing, hardships don't last always. You feel what I'm saying? Like, things happen for your best interest, for your growth. But you have to choose to grow, or you're going to continue to go through those same situations because you can't recognize them as that.
And also, we can't get too caught up on what man and woman does. Like, you know, but like, oh, they was my friend, they crossed me. I mean, it's okay to, you know, be saddened for a second, but don't let it deter you from your faith, because they're just human, they're flesh, they're just another human being. They have no promise to you. You feel me? So you being hurt or think they stabbed you, that's you hurting yourself, because you believe something that they never promised you. The only one who has a promise to you is God. So the only one that you should hold accountable for anything is God.
And learning how to not go to your friends for certain situations, because it's good to be able to have those people in your life to vent to. But when you're surrounded by people that don't know themselves because you don't know yourself, they're going to give you the same advice that you're expecting. They're not going to, and that's not all the time, because a lot of times God can work through those people and help you learn what you're supposed to learn through them. But too often than not, we listen to advice from people that don't have our best interests.
They want to tell you, they'd rather tell you what you want to hear.
What you want to hear. And that's not always what you're supposed to hear. And a lot of times, what you want to hear is what you've already been doing, and it hasn't taken you anywhere. So why would you continue to allow yourself to listen to that and stay in the same situations?
Because them telling you what you want to hear, that's the easiest route. And people just like to go with what's easy.
And I get it. I do. Because it's not... Hard situations are hard. They're difficult. But the harder the situation, the greater the blessing. You feel what I'm saying? Like, and that's not all the time. Not to say like, oh, but like a lot of times it's okay to sometimes just sit in it. But don't sit in it too long.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
Recognize what's going on, because a lot of times you have to sit so you can be in a position where you can actually
get your mental
not only that, but be in a place where you can actually listen to God. Because a lot of times we're trying to be so in control, find the answers ourselves, when really all we have to do sometimes is sit and listen to what God's trying to tell us and guide us through.
Yep. Sit down and have a one with God and just ask God to show me the way. You know, find your safe haven. Yep, quiet spot, peaceful spot, and just sit and just let God have it all. Amen. Yes, sir.
Y'all need to start going outside too. I'm trying to tell you, God moves in nature too, y'all. It's okay. Sometimes y'all need to go outside and get a breath. And I know it's hard, especially with winter, because it's like, oh, it's cold. But I'm like, y'all, being stuck in your house all day doesn't allow you the space for anything except to be stuck in your thoughts. And that's hard. It's hard to move past the situation that you're trying to grow through when you're stuck in the same situation. Put yourself somewhere else, even if it's just momentarily. That momentary time that you're in, like nature or wherever that's safe to you, allows you the space to sit and listen to God, so you're not surrounded by all the chaos and all the troubles that you're burdened with on a day-to-day basis. You need to be able to remove yourself from the chaos so you can hear clearly for what you are looking for. Because the answer is always there. We just have to step to God and ask him for it and be ready to listen to what he has to say, even if it's not what we want to hear all the time.
Yeah, because God, he's like a subliminal God. So it's like, he like she was saying with being outside, like he can show you, he can give you your answer through anything.
Crazy.
You know, through any type of situation. So he's not going to make it that easy. Oh, somebody want God to pick up the phone and call him like, with the answer. He's not going to make it that easy because he's based on faith.
Exactly.
So it's like, I'm going to give you the chance to take the knowledge that you know and believe, or you can just go your own route.
Literally.
I'm not gonna make it so easy to where I'm gonna call you up and be like, hey, brother Bishop, you know, you know, he's not gonna make it.
Because then what's
easy.
the point?
Yeah.
Literally, what's the point of faith? What's the point of life and this journey if all the answers just sitting there in front of you? What values can be learned through the lessons is the whole point of life. To learn throughout it so that you can continue to not only evolve as a person, but evolve in your faith and to help other people do so as well.
Yeah, and also, I know my God is real, but even if it so happened that he wasn't real, the life that I live in Christ, or just following Christ, or having a relationship with Christ, a relationship with God, it's a peaceful life. And it brings me nothing but peace. So in the end, I still won regardless of anything. Seriously.
We can't get caught up chasing all these material things. And it's like, bruh, you can't take that with you when you die.
No,
I really want us to get to the point to recognize all these material things are gonna stay on earth. And the thing is, it's meant to be enjoyed. It's blessings for you to enjoy.
But there's limits.
There's limits. And when you get so caught up in what you see now, you're not paying attention to the value of the lessons that can be learned in the future. So it's like, you're so caught up in what's going on now that you're not preparing yourself for even better blessings that could be on the way. And that's why it's hard to receive them or be in the place to receive them and actually keep and maintain them. Because we're so caught up in the now. And it's good to be present. God calls us to be present. But he also calls us to prepare ourselves because anything can happen. No day is promised to anyone at all.
Nope.
That's why you're supposed to make the best of it and learn how to continue to do so you can continue to enjoy and continue to flourish in the life that God has bestowed upon you.
Yeah, and what was I gonna say? Just went blank.
Story of my life.
Yeah. Great day. Oh well, I gotta. Wow.
But yeah, y'all. Sometimes we just need to look in the mirror, okay? Sometimes we just need to look in the mirror and figure out who we are and who we want to be. So it's a lot easier to take the steps forward to understand like what intent we're putting in every decision that we're making. Because if you don't know yourself and know what you want for your life, it's hard to make decisions that would then cultivate that life because you don't know where you want to go. When you get stuck in the now, you don't really recognize where you want to go and where you want to end up because you're stuck in the what's going on right now. Stop that. Chill out. It's okay. Everything is happening as it's supposed to. Divine timing is very real, y'all.
Yep.
Don't get caught up in the now when you realize and not realize that there's more steps to go. There's more places to see. Okay?
Take life on a sailboat and not a speedboat. You sail through life, you feel me?
Come on.
Let the waves take you where you gotta go. You ain't gotta be in a speedboat with a big engine trying to go your own direction. Just let the waves of the water guide you where you need to go. And what I was saying, what I forgot I was gonna say was, yeah, the greatest riches in life is peace. And you can't have peace without God. You can try, but it's gonna be temporary peace. That's what it is. But to have everlasting peace is through God. But I say go through life just peace, cherish your family, and you only get one life, so try to do all that you can do, but don't overwhelm yourself. And you feel me, to where you're bringing on stress, and then you're holding yourself, you feel me, you're just down and out because you feel like you should be something that you're not right now. Just do a little bit more than you done the day before. But you gotta take it one day at a time. And anything more stressful, anything less is not taking initiative. So just keep grinding towards your goals. You feel me? One day at a time, but don't, just put your trust in God.
Bro.
At the end of it. should I go back on the confusions about death?
Oh yeah. Let's bring it on.
Yeah, so what I was thinking earlier, a lot of people get confused with death, you feel me? They be like, oh, a child died. They be like, if God was real, why would he let that child go? Or, you got a person die from cancer. If God was real, why didn't he save him? You feel me? We was born to die. That's the reality of it all. You feel me? It's a blessing to be here till 90, 80, 100, but that's not the end goal. The end goal is to come here on earth, trust God, have faith, believe in God, and have your life right with God. So when you are called home, you're going to that place. You feel me? So no matter how we get taken out, the way we get taken out, those are the curses that we brought on ourselves from crossing God back in the Bible days. So those are just of the world. So we can't get confused because we're in the world. So things is going to happen of the world. So we can't get confused by the way we leave the world because of what we've done to ourselves. We've done all this to ourselves. So I just don't want nobody to be confused behind death because we're born to die. But the end goal is a relationship with God. That's the main goal. Anything else, it's fine. It's nice. It's nice. Get rich, do what you got to do, be all you can be. But the end goal is to have a relationship with God.
And not only that, but like, y'all, can we be so for real? These are meat sacks. They go into the ground when you die. You feel what I'm saying? And what's to be taken from that is this is an experience. Our souls are allowed to live in our bodies to experience. That is the whole purpose of life. Experience. You can't even take your body with you when you die.
Nope.
So why do you think you should take anything else? Stop focusing on all the earthly things that come and go. You see a lot, even like big stars, celebrities, they have their low moments too. There are a lot of celebrities, even one-hit wonders that have that great experience for a momentary time and then they misuse it and then they're right back to where they were. Everything is something, and that's also because they didn't value that experience. So it's like God blessed them. It was just like you didn't do what you said you're going to do with it, and then boom, it was taken away from you. So it's like when we allow ourselves to be present in our experience, we can understand what we're being called for, and so we can continue to do the things that God calls upon us. So we can continue to experience those blessings and experience the greatness and the beauty that's laid out right for us. You feel what I'm saying?
Yep, because patience is a virtue. You feel me? Patience is one of the greatest things ever. People want it now.
Literally.
But they don't want to put the work in. They scared like, oh, it's going to take 5 years from now to be where I want to be. Well, take those 5 years to do what you got to do to be where you want to be.
5 years out of possibly 80.
People want it in 1 month, though. They just want to be there. But no, just take your time and not stress and just apply pressure. You feel me? And just get there. But people get so caught up in, getting old. You feel me? That's the people age.
That's gonna happen regardless.
People get caught up in that. But as long as you take care of yourself, take care of your mental, your physical health, you're going to be alright.
And that's so big. Yes, we talk a lot about spiritual health and wellness, but overall wellness is the goal.
Yeah.
Your body is a temple. Your mind is a part of that temple. So if you're not taking part of all aspects in your life, how can you then expect God to or for you to experience God the same way? When you are well, overall, it makes the journey so much more fulfilling and the relationship with God even more fulfilling because you're in a place where you can not only understand that experience, but enjoy it, even in the hard times, because you understand it is an experience. Lows and highs are meant to happen. I think one of my favorite quotes is the top of one mountain is the bottom of the next.
Yes, sir.
Keep going. You have to keep going. You have to remind yourself every day that this is an experience. I am experiencing life, so experience life to the fullest, but in a way that benefits you and benefits those around you. Because we're not just living for ourselves, we're living to help other people so that they can also have those experiences, so that we can all come together in unity and have the most fulfilling experience with God.
Yep. And that's what I was saying, putting in the work. He's going to bless you according to you. So if you're helping people get closer to Christ or giving your testimonies and ministering their life, God, your blessings is just going to be abundant because you're putting in that work. He's still going to bless you for just believing. But when you go above and beyond and over and put in that work for the Lord, oh yeah. He's gonna be right there in your corner.
Oh, for sure, because it's not. You have to think. It's not just about you. It's not outside yourself. Once you include other people, so not is only is God blessing you for helping His children. He's blessing you so you can continue to bless His other children. So that's the biggest thing. Like, and I focus so much on unity, community. Because we're all meant to go through this experience together. And once you find the value in togetherness, you don't seem so alone. Even if it's not relationship-wise, even if it's platonic, it's still an enjoyable experience because you understand where both your experiences are coming from. It's God. So it's like you guys are being able to come together and enjoy not only your experience, but enjoy all the other blessings that God gives you throughout the day and know where that comes from so you can continue to have it. You know?
Yeah, and we're all God's children. He has a blessing with all of our names on it. It's just up to you to grab it. So we just all need to take a hold of our lives and get all that God has for us. So basically, we as humans, we only hold ourselves back because we want to do it ourselves. You feel me? We don't want to trust in God. We don't want to have faith. We want to be like, I got it. I do it myself. But if we just, and I'm speaking to myself also. You feel me? You know. But we just gotta, just give it all to God and put it in God's hands and let Him take control. And once you do that, there's no greater gift.
For sure.
There's no better feeling.
And it's a gift that keeps giving because not only are you allowed to do that, but you're allowed to help other people do that. And I always go back to that because that is so important. Y'all, we are not here to just live for ourselves. We're here to find each other and help each other find themselves so that we can all live our most authentic, true life. Because it's hard for God to work through you when you're not being your authentic self. You know what I'm saying? Stop getting so caught up in what everybody else is doing. That's what God called them to do. You don't have the same journey. So why are you so caught up and worried about what's going on in their life, what God's blessing them with, when you don't even know their story? How they got there.
You're just blocking your blessings.
Literally.
That's all.
We gotta focus on ourselves before we start focusing on other people. Because we do not all have the same experience. We are all individual. We're all reflections of God living an individual experience. So you can never compare your journey to someone else's because it is your journey.
Exactly. And that gets back to what God got for you. It is for you. And it's about the people, like she said, it's about the people. It's about the children. We got to bring the children out right to keep the world going. You feel me? Pick God in their life. So when I deal with children, that's my greatest gift is to make sure they have a relationship with the Lord. You feel me? That's why I like to keep it and remind them about God. You feel me? Tell them how good God is. Just keep that in their life so we can keep the world going. Because the way we going now, you never know when the Lord coming back.
It's dark.
It's dark.
It's dark out in these streets, y'all.
But it's up to people that want to chase Christ and want to work for the Lord to pull the darkness away and let the light shine. You feel me?
And be that light. We all have that light within ourselves, and that's why it's so important for unity, because then we're allowed to let our light shine in a way that helps other people feel like they can let their light shine. And then we all continue to shine together and make the world a brighter place.
Yeah.
It's something that we have to do together. Togetherness is key. You can't, no one's journey, no man is their own island? Is that the the quote? Like, we're all meant to be together in some way, shape, or form, whether it be physical or spiritual. But the whole point is to grow in ourselves so that we can find our own light before we can help other people find theirs.
Yep, it's time to take off the lampshades.
No, for real.
And let your light shine bright.
For real.
From here on out, you got to take off that lamp. People got the light, but they blinded by the world, so they wear a lampshade.
Because they're so scared. Like, oh, am I shining too bright? Are people seeing me too much? You're meant to shine, baby.
Yep.
You can't be fearful. You can't want to shine and then be fearful of your shine. Because the light is already within you. You just have to access it. That's it. But you can't be afraid to, because then you won't utilize it to your fullest potential. And then it won't always be perceived how it's meant to,
Exactly. It's what God has destined for you.
It is yours.
So let that light shine bright and take life head on.
For real.
Don't get discouraged by what life throws at you and sit in depression. Because stress, we can only bring it on ourselves.
Literally.
Take every storm that God has for you and go through it. And there's a blessing at the end of the tunnel. You just gotta believe.
For real.
You gotta shrug your shoulders and say, God got me, I got this, and go head on. The worst thing to do is just sit in it, indulge in it, Because there's two things you can do. You can either do something about it or do nothing about it. So you got to choose.
You can control your situation,
Yeah.
or let your situation control you.
But you only got one life to do it in.
Mm-hmm.
So why waste time and just sit in depression or dark state where you can bring yourself out of it and be the best person that you can be?
Y'all need to stop crying about situations you put yourselves in. I'm gonna be blunt. I'm gonna be so blunt. Because
Exactly.
it's really frustrating because it's like, y'all, when we don't take accountability, there's no room for change. There's a level of accountability that can be held in every single situation. Nothing just happens to you because it happens to you. No, there's a cause and effect for everything that we do in this world. It might come a little later, and that's why you're confused, but there is always a cause and effect. There's a reason for everything that you go through and grow through.
Yeah, you gotta take accountability. You gotta take that second life. A lot of people just go through life. I see a lot of people thinking that, they're not this person, or they didn't do that, because they're not even taking a second to sit down with themselves and ask themselves, like, have I been doing these things? You feel me? They just going through life and just rolling. So they're not even seeing. So they say they crossed their friend, and their friend said that they crossed them. They're not even seeing that they crossed their friend because they're just going and going and going. They're not taking that second to sit there and be like, what am I doing in life?
Literally.
You feel me? They're not looking in the mirror and be like, did you do these things? So to have accountability, you got to sit down with yourself and really sit and think, how am I moving in life? You feel me?
And y'all, we have to get out of this victim mindset. Like, when you're in a victim mindset, how can you expect anything to change? Like, if you're thinking like, oh, these things are happening to me, woe is me, like life is just so shitty. No, baby, you can change your life. God gives everybody the ability to have change, to provide change for yourself. But if you continue to sit in a place where it's like, oh my gosh, all these things are happening to me and I can't change anything, it's like, those things, that's exactly what you're going to continue to attract. If that's what's in your mind, if that's what lives in your mind, that's the same things you're going to continue to attract into your experience.
Yeah, because that's the easy way out.
Easy way out.
And people love the easy way.
But the easy way makes things a lot harder
Yep.
in disguise. Let's be real.
Exactly. It's time to get your blessing. They got your name on it.
Are you? Oh wait. What's the song? What's that gospel song? Get ready, hey,
Yes,
for your blessings. I got that on replay.
For your miracles.
For your miracles, y'all. But you have to get ready, like especially when you find yourself in those situations or those period of time where it's like it feels like things are stagnant, like things are going well. There's nothing really that you can really control that's going on. Like, not necessarily like it's always a good situation, it's always a bad situation, but there are times where we're placed in periods of stagnancy. But you have to be able to recognize that as a time for mental growth sometimes. Sometimes we have to sit so that we can reflect in ourselves and either remove what's not meant to be in our life or improve things so that we can go to the next step in the best version of ourselves.
And the best way to do it healthy, you gotta remove things with no bad blood. So even when you're removing people that's not for you in your life, you can't remove them with hatred.
You can't.
You gotta remove them with love and peace, and just knowing that they're not healthy for me because they're not as far in their journey. They're not where they need to be.
Exactly.
To help me be where I need to be in my life. So you just gotta let them go with love. You feel me? Not have no resentment or hate. You feel me? Just distance yourself.
Because then that's you blaming them for whatever reason that you have to let them go. And it's like, it might be their fault, but it's like, if you want someone to treat you with the same type of love, why not do that for other people? Even if it comes to a place, like you said, like where you have to release them, do it with love, because you would want that to be done to you. Because a lot of times we are in those situations ourselves where we're stuck in a place of stagnancy and we're not helping the people around us grow, so they have to let us go. So treat people the way you want them to treat you.
Yep.
With everything else.
Because God, you feel me? He just wants us to love. He wants us to be there for the people. So if you're holding on to that hatred, you're just hurting yourself in the long run. You're blocking your blessings that the Lord has for you. And when you move like that and the Lord sees it, He's like, young man, young woman, you feel me? That's what I want, you feel me? And then he's going to give you your blessings that you desire, because just that little step, the way you did it. So it was two type of ways you could have done it. So you could have let them go with hatred, you feel me, or let them go with love. But see, God seen that you decided to do it the loving way. That's when he was like, okay, young man, you know, okay, young woman. And he handed you that blessing that he wants. So it's the small tests like that. Those are the small things like that, the tests and trials that God has to see how are you going to react.
That's why it's so, like I said on my socials the other day, I was like, it's so important how you treat people, y'all. You never know what type of, who God has his hand over. You never know what type of protection God places over some people's life, and you find yourself, after mistreating someone, your life just going haywire. It's because you mess with one of God's children, okay? And we're all his children. But he does have those of us that are chosen because we have the ability and we're equipped enough to help other people, bring other people to him, find their way back to him. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like you have to be very, and even without that, why would you be treating people in a way that you wouldn't want them to treat you? What do you gain from that? Nothing. So what's the point? Be kind to people. It is so valuable because everything that you put out into this world, I promise you, it will come right back to you, good or bad.
Yeah, because God definitely holding you accountable for your actions.
Even if you don't.
Yeah. So basically, so say people going through things, so that's why you gotta be nice to people, because you never know what they're going through, what they're battling.
Exactly.
Because depression is real. All those things are real because it's of the world and we're in the world. So we gotta deal with the things in the world. But when you have a relationship with Christ, he's the only thing that can really pull you up out of those states. You feel me? Because we are in the world, so we're going to deal with it. But when you're in the spiritual realm and you separate yourself from the world realm, then that's the only way that you can really come out.
So you're not only like separating yourself, but just making sure that you're aware so you can see the difference between the two. So it's like when you understand the difference between what's going on spiritually and physically, you know how to move about with those situations. Because every situation has to be handled specifically tailored to that situation. You can't handle one thing like you would handle another because they come from different places. So they need different solutions to provide the results that you are asking for.
Yep, and the world acts like it has the cure for these things that the world, that the world gives you, for depression, all these states. They act like they got the cure, but the cure that they have is only temporary. And the only cure that you can have for longevity and for everlasting is through God. That's the only way, and there's no other way around it.
And it's like, not that those other things in the world don't help, because God gives us the intelligence and the resources to be able to help ourselves. But you can't just allow it to just be a physical resolution, because that's not always the case. A lot of times, a lot of things that we go through, a lot of situations, even especially with mental health, they are deriving from something else. So even if you fix the problem with some medicine or whatever helps you, there's still that problem that is deriving from is still there. So until you fix that problem, not only physically but spiritually, come to a place where you're content, or you come to a place where you're just at peace with the situation, you will continue to face those issues.
Exactly. That's real.
And I can only speak on it because I've gone through it. I've been through the stages. I've been on medication and stuff like that. It just, personally for me, it did not work. But when I started taking the time to understand why I felt the way that I did, and therapy did help a lot. I mean, that's not like, therapy was great, but it's like really finding the issues that helped me. I'm not gonna lie, it was through my faith. Because even though those people were great to talk to and great to get earthly answers from situations I could deal with at hand, the things that were in my heart, they didn't know that. The only person that knows what's in your heart and what's buried in your heart and in your mind is God, at least to the fullest extent. So it's like, why not go to the person that knows you better than anyone else here?
Yep, and in life you got to be understanding. Like I was saying, like when you look at the bigger picture, like the way someone acts, you feel me, and the way they are, if you feel like they're moving wrong, there's a bigger picture. There's a reason why they're moving wrong. You feel me? Whether it was their household, how corrupt their household is. You feel me? How they was brought up. You feel me? Everybody has different beliefs. You feel me? Everybody has different morals and principles. So you can't expect somebody, the next man's morals and principles, to be the same as yours. So you could think they're wrong, but to them they're not wrong.
Exactly.
Because your right and your wrong is different from their right and their wrong.
Exactly.
So you can only hold animosity with so much because you did that to yourself thinking that y'all had the same rights and wrongs.
You don't have the same mind, so how can you expect them to behave the way that you would? We expect things from people that we can't even expect from ourselves more often than not, and then we end up getting disappointed when we allow ourselves to be in the place for disappointment. You cannot have faith in man because a lot of times man does not know what they do. Go ahead.
Now, in generational curses, they're real.
Oh,
they're super real.
What?
So that's also another place that you got to be understanding in. You know, you never know what somebody's stuck in from the generation to generation. So we can judge and look at them from the outside in and be like, why are they stuck in this place? You feel me? We're all doing good, but they're stuck. They're not moving forward with us. So we start judging instead of sitting down and trying to have understanding. You feel me? Look at the bigger picture.
And you never know what you just sitting down with someone that's been through certain stuff like that, you might be helping someone break a generational curse. And I think we really need to understand the weight of that. That is something that has been brought from family to generation to generation to generation, and they just weren't able to break that. Sometimes it just takes one person to completely change your perspective and allow you to really understand what's going on around you so you can change it. It's not up to them to help you change it. It's up to them to help you open your eyes, and then up to you to change it.
Well, and just because it was easy for you to break what you was dealing with doesn't mean it was as easy for them to break what they're dealing with.
At all.
So when I came, and this is dealing with it personally, you feel me? I used to judge, have a person I used to judge, say this and that. We get in a heated arguments because I wanted better for them. But then I came to an understanding. I got to be more understanding. I got to pray with them and, have faith in them, you know, and just give them encouragement, not just be so quick to judge. You feel me? You can't judge. You just got to be encouraging, and have faith and just pray with them and just do all that you can do. Don't overwhelm yourself and take from your life and drain yourself.
For sure.
But do what you can do.
And also be able, with that, like, you have to be able to recognize when you are overextending yourself, because that's not what God calls us to do. We aren't meant to fix any problems. That's all to God, even in our own day-to-day issues. Like, everything that I have issue with now today, I promise you, I give it right to God. I pray as soon as I get into a situation that frustrates me, bruh. Because it's like, I understand that I don't have control over that. Only thing I have control over is myself and how I handle that situation. And that's why I handle it by giving it to God, the person that understands all sides of the story, so that he's able to then reveal the truth to me, and then it's up to me to do what I'm supposed to do with that truth.
Exactly. Gotta live stress free. You got to. You got to give it to God. As soon as you feel these things, just give it to God and keep pushing.
We're done.
Yeah, if it don't kill you, it's just gonna make you stronger. So,
why trip over it?
You gotta be blessed, for the activity in your limbs, the breath in your body, you know, that you got a heartbeat, that you can see, that you can walk, that you can talk. You feel me? Once you got those things, you just need to, fight life head on, put the boxing gloves on, and spar it out. You feel me? And give it to God,
That's all we do. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for being on today's episode.
Oh yeah, no problem. More to come.
For sure. I hope y'all really gained something from this conversation. And please keep up with Block Bishop, because he's gonna have his own podcast out soon. I'm sorry, I wasn't sure if I was supposed to say that.
Bishop on the block.
Don't play with him. But y'all have a blessed day, and I will see you guys next week.
Love, peace, and happiness.
Amen.